We want to feel important for one.
Okay, hey, listen, yeah, I think go for it. I'm on board. I don't have to sit at the
We're
dais.
not the town council, but we're, you know.
Yeah, no, listen, hey, if you know, if you guys want to sit,
We're recording now, guys.
What are you talking about?
whether you have to sit at the dais. I would say you don't have to, but if, like, I'm gonna sit up here because I'm your liaison, so
I was wondering who the liaison was.
it's me.
So you got that outstanding.
Yeah.
You don't want to run a
You
committee.
thought you were gonna get rid of me.
Well, it gives you a feeling of importance, you know? You sit behind it.
There we go.
Sure.
And there's still a few more chairs. I mean, the people you can't, maybe you want to sit here in case you have to talk to. I don't think that's.
That's right.
Come join us.
I'll join you.
That's one of my friends is-
I want to be. I just like.
Come on, Ed, you all remember.
Sure.
And then there's something else too. There's 3 chairs. There's 3 chairs. Well, let's see how we can get it. Might as well sit up there, you know. Whoa. You can always shove people over. You got lots of chairs. Oh, this is great. So, I'm here to say. So somebody's got their mic on.
You guys are on mute. Dale, you guys are on mute. Historic Schoolhouse is muted.
How about that?
Whoa, yeah.
Okay. So there is this.
Ooh.
Where's the echo?
This. How about, can you hear us now, Ray?
Can't hear you. You're muted, right? You're muted.
Okay, no echo. Good job. Thank you.
Okay, I figured that technical glitch out.
Okay, so I'll go back to this subterranean secret key that opens up most of the areas of the town center in case of an emergency. And a decision was made after digging around for the key a few weeks ago that we find a better place for it. I have been in contact with Howard at the town center. We're looking to order the same kind of lockbox that CERT now uses for the trailer key. And that lockbox will be placed near the generator once we have purchased it. So the combination to that lock will be given to those who have need to be able to access the town center. And at some point, we will have to come up with a specific list of people who should have access to that lockbox.
Okay. Jerry, do you need a motion from this committee?
I wouldn't think so. We're just digging it up from under the ground and putting it on a post. I don't know that that requires a motion. But I think the decision as to who should have access to that once we make that decision might be appropriate to pass as a.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving on to the next item. Item number 7, and attached to your packet was the resolution. Right here, recommendation to town council. And the reason I'm bringing this forward is there are several of these things that have been hanging. This committee has recommended. They haven't been accomplished for the past 3, maybe 4 years. And one of the things we'd like to do is bring it to the full town council, ask to get their support of whatever is necessary so that we can move these items forward. And if we want to go through them line by line, I'm certainly willing to. I think most of the people on this committee are fairly clear on what the challenges have been. Do we have any discussion, any comments?
Is it possible to have this, is it possible to have this projected so that people who are viewing us can see what this is?
I don't know how to do that. And I think I would have to go on to one of the computers and share screens. It is part of the packet.
No.
I'll just make a motion to approve this so we can sort of start the discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we will send this on, see if we can get some time in front of the town council to get these items moved forward.
Yeah, one thing as a council person, can I suggest that you guys maybe do a little investigation, just to, when you bring it to the council, so they have some idea kind of what's involved? Doesn't have to be a contractual thing, but just a general idea of what's involved.
It would be good if you went to Mike because Ray won't be able to hear you.
So I was just asking, when this gets to the council, it'd be nice if there's more information on what's involved.
Yep, we've had that discussion among several of us on the communication subcommittee. So we can pull something together on Starlink. Okay, great. Thank you all. Motion is approved. We'll send this on to the committee. Next, item number 8. And just so folks know, establishment of subcommittees requires, or disestablishment requires the vote of the full committee. And this is to establish a new subcommittee on resident information and marketing communications. We haven't had this, actually since Lori Duvall left the committee a few years ago. And
Against American targets.
Mary Ann
Greatest
has
security.
volunteered to be part of this committee, and Randy True has also volunteered to be part of this subcommittee if we establish it. And the point is to provide communications, maybe something like, we used to put out emergency tips to publicize the events that we're participating in and so on.
Yeah, we'll also look at the website because the website is a little bit out of date. So I'm talking to Mike.
They want you right up against the mic, but that's all right.
I think if we are going to establish a new subcommittee, we really should have a written mission for that committee so that it's clear what we are actually approving. And it's clear to the committee what we're expecting them to do. So I get a gist of sort of what it is, but I don't have a gist of what it isn't and where it starts and where it stops. So I think maybe the quote unquote subcommittee could come back with their expected mission at the next meeting so we can all agree that that's the direction we want them to go.
Sure, we can write a few sentences.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Okay,
Sure.
so are you moving to approve or are you moving to defer?
I'm comfortable approving with the caveat that we will see the mission for that committee at the next meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Thank you all very much. Aha, and here
There
we
he
have
is.
Randy True. I would like to welcome you to the committee.
Thank you. I apologize for being late.
That's not a problem. And you just got assigned to the communications and marketing communication subcommittee. So glad to have you. Do we have any public questions, comments? And I should have asked that on each agenda item, but anything on this item out there? Any comments? Or Ray, if you had any comments on our resolution that we sent to the town council, anything there?
Nope, all good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much. On to item 9, and this was brought up by Chris Ronis, and he primarily, with the support of others, established this committee, I think 3 years ago, and it was to coordinate between this committee, between CERT, Woodside, and after some discussion, he's asked that we probably disestablish this committee because we have actually accomplished almost everything they set out to do. And fortunately, we actually have 2 members of the EPC on the EPIC board. We have several members of this committee who are involved in CERT in one way or another. We actively talk to the Woodside EPC. So I think it's been a great success. And Chris said, okay, we're there. We don't really need a subcommittee. So do I have any motions?
Some second.
I have just a comment. So I agree that we may not need a subcommittee, but CERT is a pretty important, I will call it action arm of this committee. So I just want to be sure that we have a method for incorporating the exchange of information about it on a regular basis, and it just doesn't go off and operate separately from our committee. I don't know what the best mechanism for that is, but there should be some reporting from the EPIC board, on at least a yearly basis or twice a year on what's going on so we can be comfortable that it's meeting our needs.
Okay,
But, that's a good point, Jerry. Both Chris and I are on the Epic board, so we can bring back information firsthand at whatever schedule you all want.
Also, Selena is here at every meeting, so
Same thing. She's on that board too. She runs that board basically. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we
I'm
have,
just-
we have lots
just-
of access to the information, but Jerry makes a good point.
I just want to make sure there's a little formality to the idea that it will report to this committee on, sort of what's going on with the program on a twice a year basis, maybe something like that, if not more often. Otherwise, I'm happy to support that motion.
okay. I think we ought to go ahead and proceed with the motion on the table. Probably with the caveat that we ask for a report from the Epic board members at least annually. I know we get reports from Selena every month, so we appreciate that. All in favor? Aye. Motion is passed. Thank you all. Next, Jerry, you have the floor on your zone identification awareness project.
So while I comment on a few things, I'm going to just pass out the samples of the card that would be placed in a luggage tag for a go bag, as well as the static cling sticker that you could place anywhere or not even use it as a static cling sticker. So the design has been formalized. If anyone wants to take out their cell phone and test the QR code, it seems to work on my phone, but I'm hoping it works on everyone else's as well. And it provides this information that we talked about on multiple occasions. So the zone number is very clear. It'll be individualized to each address. And I will pass out to the committee members a couple of things that you can just review that I've showed you on one level before or not. One is just what the spreadsheet looks like that I can get from the Zone Haven organization, which just lists the address. And it has virtually every address. There's some streets that are missing that we're going to have to figure out another method to get their address. And that will be used for the mail merge that will be done to mail these out. There will be an envelope that has the logo of the town of Portola Valley, as well as the logo of the Woodside Fire Protection District, so that people will know that it's sort of co-sponsored by both of those. I have 3 different bids from mail centers. One is significantly lower, and I think will be the appropriate one for me to recommend using. I have asked Carrie Chin to change the Oakland document, which is Zone Haven Know Your Zone. I'm going to pass out some copies of that for people to look at. It's now individualized for Portola Valley, and that one is pretty much ready to go. At the bottom of the first page, there's the second page. I'm sorry, at the bottom of the second page, which will be the back of this, it does indicate that this is funded by the Woodside Portola Valley Fire Protection Foundation, so that they get acknowledgement for having funded this. There is a third letter that I have to finish that Carrie is going to put into the same look and feel as the larger 2-page document, which just goes over some more particulars. I've already showed this one, but I have some samples if anyone wants to look at it. This one is not finalized yet. So as soon as this is finalized, We are pretty close to pulling the trigger. We have the funds. We have the tags. We have the accompanying letter. We have to get the envelope designed that will be printed, and then we should be able to send it out.
Outstanding. Question is, are you going to ask us to come to a big stuffing party?
I might ask you to do it. You know, it's about 1,600, and you know, it would be nice to have 3 or 4 people helping, and we do sort of one zone at a time, so we're sure that the right cards get in the right envelope. That's the one part that worries me a lot, is we send somebody the wrong zone number. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know.
And
It's gonna be magnetic or sticky.
It is a static cling. You can peel that
I just
off,
did. I didn't. Okay.
and I'll show you.
I did that.
We'll let you do that privately.
And it will stick to glass. It will stick to plastic. Here, bud.
Oh, no, I don't need all the way.
Yeah.
Sitting on my clothes.
But it won't stick to rough surfaces. So you only have a few kinds of surfaces that it's going to actually stick to. I think a lot of people will probably just leave it on that backing and put it wherever they are comfortable putting it. But it would probably stick to a refrigerator, stainless steel, plastic refrigerator, piece of glass, or a piece of plastic.
one quick question, Jerry. Were you going to have the little business card things laminated or something?
No, they're pretty shiny, and I don't see the advantage to laminating them because the hope would be that the homeowner will want to copy this for as many go bags or many tags as they want, and they would put them in their own luggage tag and laminate them themselves if they choose. You can buy these laminated luggage tags on Amazon if you want, but I wasn't planning on spending money to do that. If we get the letters too heavy, then we have another expense with mailing. And I'm trying to keep it on just at first class.
I didn't read the letter carefully. Does it say that about stickiness on the?
Yeah. It's in there.
Okay, great job. Any questions, comments for Jerry?
Great job, Jerry.
Yeah.
Really
Thank you,
terrific
Jerry.
job. This is really a good,
Thank
great
you.
service.
This will teach everyone that if you have an idea, be prepared to
Be responsible.
implement it.
We like that here, Jerry. Thank you very much. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Any other questions for Jerry? Any public comment before we move on? Seeing none. Okay, thank you,
Hello?
Jerry. Yes.
Hi, this is Roberta Zare, Superintendent of Portola Valley School District. Just a quick question for Jerry and the group. Can we get those for our school district and offices, and then we can make copies for all of our staff so that they have this information at their fingertips? Thank you.
I'm sure we can find a way to do that for you. Absolutely.
Yep, we will reach out, Roberta, and get the information to you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, on to item number 11. This is Vic, your item.
Thank you. As you may recall, in October of 2022, our committee provided to the town council a series of recommendations with respect to setting priorities from the evacuation study of the various, there were 14 items that were recommended for action. And this was presented to the town council in October. And at their request, I provided an update to the town council on February 22nd which went fine. The town council, I'm happy to report, was both interested with good questions and uniformly supportive of this effort. And in fact, I'll mention that the town council members have made several suggestions, just by way of example, that we make sure in terms of our work that we coordinate our evacuation efforts with healthcare providers, that we continue coordination with the housing element efforts that are going on. One suggestion was made by one of the town council members that more information needs to be provided with respect to input on the radio announcement 1680, what it is that goes into these announcements. There was some concern as to the substance of it to provide better input. In addition, I had some conversations subsequently, I'm happy to report, with town council members who expressed an interest in the rankings that we did with a number of their suggestions, particularly one very good one that came up, the need to coordinate our efforts with the ongoing setting of town priorities, which are dealing with a number of safety issues, so that we coordinate our efforts together with their efforts. And we are mutually supportive. And lastly, their desire, when we think it's appropriate, to provide them with a further follow-up report on our projects and our efforts. As many of you know, in the interim, I have consulted with our subcommittee, Dale, Rob, and with Jeremy Dennis, and a bit with our new coordinator on this, Corey Stocker, and identified the various tasks, the 14 tasks that have been reviewed, so that we've brought them up to date. And in your packet, of course, you saw the current listing. I did the best I could. I'm not very good at setting up these Excel sheets, but I think you get the essence of it, which is these 14 items and who is responsible basically for the task and the time targets. As you can see, most of these are of an ongoing nature. I'm happy to report many of these are underway now with various efforts. But you will also notice that there were 6 or so items that were identified for the EPC in terms of what their role might be with regard to these efforts. And I'll be looking for, we're not going to, I think, take the time today to do this, but for EPC volunteers to work on some of these efforts. The purpose of presenting this to you now was to see if there are any questions, given that we've made substantial movement with regard to the support of the town council, and to give you an opportunity, in addition to the last opportunity we had, to raise any questions that you have with respect to the spreadsheet that I provided to you in the areas of responsibility. With that, what we hope to do is then working with the town, and particularly with Corey, who's taken on the responsibility at the request of the town council to work on these, to implement these efforts with the group that's assigned for responsibility. The subtlety here I want to emphasize is that we are not, as the EPC, taking on the tasks that are on here. This is going to be a coordinated effort, obviously led by the people or the organizational entity that's identified on the chart that was distributed. We couldn't do this, but you can see with the reference to EPC on the chart that was in your packet that we will continue to be a resource on some of these, which I discussed briefly in our last meeting. With regard to the last topic, which is timing, most of these efforts, you'll note, are ongoing. Setting down a hard deadline was a little hard because, one, we have had transition in town staff in terms of who was available to work on this. There are limited resources that are available with the town. And of course, we need to identify on our own EPC group in the areas that are on here, who's going to help coordinate in the 6 areas that are here, which I think we can do offline. I don't think we need to do in this meeting to save time. So that's the effort. That's the report I wanted to provide to you. Craig is our continuing liaison, I believe. And obviously we have the benefit of someone who's very knowledgeable of the functions of the EPC to work with us and facilitate it. And we're hopeful that by the next fire season, we're going to continue to make a great deal of progress. One thing was very interesting to me, and I want to comment on. A couple of the questions we got from the public at the town council meeting really reflected a lack of understanding, Ray, on the tremendous amount of effort that's been made on our communications efforts. Wondering about what would happen if the network was down and this wasn't working or that wasn't working, which you've addressed so capably. And I do want to share with you that I think we want to consider a more public, some kind of a public communication of what our communications efforts have been on this committee, so that it's fully understood, because it really reflected a lack of understanding of all the tremendous effort that you and the committee have made to set up a good communications setup in the event of an emergency. So that's my report. And if you have any questions about the priorities or what we have here, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that might come up.
Thanks, Vic. Any comments?
Real quick, Dale, I don't know, can you see me? I don't know.
I can absolutely see you, Ray.
So, Vic, great. Thank you for that. Was there, or do you have in your mind some way to convey our communication infrastructure, or where or how?
I do, and I probably suggest I give you a call offline. Ray,
Offline, okay.
because I know you've made, and the committee has made efforts, certainly at our periodic fairs. We've done such a big outreach, but I was frankly astounded is a little bit of hyperbole, but I was really surprised of the lack of knowledge. Really, the couple of questions that came up, which we appreciated, of course, because it reflected the need. The lack of knowledge that what we can do in the event our phones are down, type of thing. So why don't I'll give you a call and we'll chat about that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Randy,
Dale, Vic, I think coordination with.
could you speak into your microphone?
Oh, sorry
Thank
about that. I guess I'm not as surprised that there's a lack of awareness, because I think I personally and other I think busy families and stuff are unfortunately not as informed as we should be. I know the school. I'm just our daughter's just getting into the school district, and I know they have an emergency day and do drills. So I think coordination with either the PTO or PVSD staff could help. And I don't know if that already happens.
That's actually in process. Good point. And you'll notice the second item on the list that was provided in the packet is integrated evacuation plan, schools, Sequoia, and so forth.
Yeah.
That's very much in process, and that is given a high priority. We did a high, medium, and low. This may have been before you were in the committee, and that's been given a high priority because of the understandable concerns of the community about what we're going to do with respect to schools and evacuation. Good point.
Another thought I had, I tuned in during one of the fire scares, and was listening to the radio report.
Right.
I was also, I found myself wanting to be able to access it online and see a text version, because I think cell was working, and we get poor cell coverage where we are on Alpine, but sometimes I drive down to Roberts to get better cell coverage. And so seeing that report, having multiple ways to communicate that same important message could be pretty helpful.
Okay.
And
Was that also on the radio and on the AM station? Did you have trouble getting the AM station?
No, I didn't have trouble, but I just saw that there was a mention of in all cars without EVs.
There.
We do have a plug-in rechargeable radio, but sometimes it's not plugged in, and I think it wasn't plugged in at the time. So.
Right.
We actually do have a internet link, so you can
Okay.
get the AM radio streaming.
Oh, great.
Ray set that up a long time ago. There's supposedly on our website, on the town site, there's actually a QR code. We've distributed at various events, a little card with a QR code to take you directly to the streaming AM radio.
Okay, I was finding myself wanting to be able to read it, because I was listening to it and I was finding it distraction. I was needing to listen to it multiple times to get all of it, and if it was longer, and then that could even be more of a problem. So if we do have cell coverage or any internet capability via Starlink or whatnot, it would, I think it could help potentially.
I don't know how we can do that, but we can certainly investigate.
So I would just close by saying that the town council was very appreciative of the effort that we've made along these lines. And of course, we acknowledge and appreciate their efforts with us. Selena will be definitely coordinating a lot of this with you as well. And I'll be in contact with some of you individually on these follow-up items. And hopefully we'll be able to report continuing progress. Appreciate Corey Stocker's effort to work with us, and we're going to do the best we can with the resources that are here. And that concludes my report, Dale.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? Craig? Any other comments out there in the audience? You used your comments up for the day.
I just wanted to emphasize Andy's idea that with the school district, don't just use it for evacuation, use it for communication. Right, that was what I heard that I think we haven't maybe done as much as we could. So I think that's a great place to pass out a bunch of information as well as evacuation.
Thanks, Craig. We actually have really good communication with the Portola Valley schools, and we'll continue to work on that.
What I was referring to, though, and I think this is what you were saying, is use it as a communication channel to the young families.
Yep.
The thing we've suffered from more than anything else is we do all this work and then we can't figure out how to get it out there, and we put it on the website and we send it to you and put it in the form, it still doesn't get through. And I think what I'm hearing is another good channel that I don't think we've used is to see if the school district is willing to hand out material on behalf of EPC or the town. So that was what I kind of heard in your comment.
Yeah, I mean, as you're saying this, I'm thinking of maybe a dozen different organizations. I mean, there are other schools that aren't in PBSD, like Carillon, next door, and Windmill, and Roberts, and there's a couple of offices. And
I think, Ray, this relates to what you and I will talk about communicating more about what communications are available in the event of an emergency, maybe using resources like this to keep the public better informed.
So Randy, there are actually 7 schools that will be affected if we have to do an evacuation. We've started with the Corte Madera School, Adam Lint there. He's done a fantastic job. We're hoping to get a rollout to all the parents of what that evacuation plan would be like. And we want to use that as a model to go to the other schools. Jeremy has been working on this with us. As Jeremy leaves, I think more of it's going to rest upon us to make sure that it's rolled out to the rest of the schools. But it's really, I think, critically important that we roll out this information to the parents so that they can understand what's going to happen with their children and what they need to be prepared for. And Dale and I and several people have been pushing really hard to make sure that that happens before this school year. Obviously, Woodside Fire with Marshall Hurd and Don. Don is directing him, is going to be doing that with Adam Lint. And that's one really critical effort that we really want to make sure happens, because there's that effort, and there's also one with the Sequoias too that we want to make sure happens also. And that hasn't been as public because I think the schools are a little bit backed up right now. How about Dale?
Nope, I think we're on track.
So maybe
we need to work a little harder at it, and maybe the new communications.
Since you're the only parent here that has a kid there, I'd really like to talk to you. Okay.
And I'm also, still not up to speed on what the committee's doing. So don't take any of this as critical. I may be very unaware of.
Because I think that we need to rally the parents to really help this rollout process happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as Dale said, the new communication subcommittee will be able to help here,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lot. Okay, thank you. On to the next item on our agenda, item number 12. And Ray, are you still there?
I am, sir. Yes.
I'm gonna let Ray go ahead and talk about this item real quick.
Sure, and it is real quick. So the committee's been asked to support the Wildfire Preparedness Fair, which is on April 22nd, so a month and a half from now. They have specifically requested that we roll out the communications trailer and stand it up and sort of show what we have, talk about what we have. There are many other participants at this fair, and we're organizing to do that. Regrettably, I am not here that day, but we're going to have a dress rehearsal at my home on April 8th, where we're going to roll the trailer out and train everybody how to stand up. Many people have seen it operate. Dale's probably the most experienced, Jerry and others. It's pretty simple, but there's a process to take it up, take it down. And Jerry's driven it around town a little bit, so we can do this. I don't know what else about the fair you want to talk about, Dale, if there is something.
I think that's just it. I think the
Okay.
important thing is the April 8th, where
Yeah.
any volunteers, because we're gonna need, it
Yeah.
takes 3 or 4 folks to do this properly.
Yeah, and it's just good that many people be exposed to it and at least have some understanding of how it generally works, because you can figure it out if you just basically understand it. So we'll do that. Then the Safety and Comm Day, we've been doing this now for a decade, if you can believe it. The American Radio Relay League has a thing called Field Day, which is a period for 24 hours. All the amateur radio operators in the nation operate, try to make as many contacts as they can. We have been doing this from the town center, setting up about 8 or 9 in the morning and operating till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And we usually get a lot of support from WPV CERT, and others are there as well. It's sort of a time to show off our communications. A lot of ham radio operators in town who aren't as active as some of us show up, and we chat and you can catch up. It's a time to re-coordinate. Both of these events, I think, are a great opportunity for us to roll out a communications brochure or whatever we're thinking about. Maybe we simply update the town's website on what we have, and then that becomes a standard by which we do that. Anyway, so that's coming up. More on that, and it's June 24th, so it's several months from now, and we'll set that up. And Dale, if I could, I'm sorry I was a little bit late. I got in really late last night from Boston, so that's why I'm still at home. But there was a typo in the minutes. It had NDN as in Delta rather than NVN, Victor, talking about the radios. Just a typo in the minutes, if you could get that fixed.
We'll fix that. Thanks, Ray.
Question, will the communication committee that we have just formed be able to have a flyer of some kind for this April 22nd meeting? That's
Well,
a
we'll
great
have-
time.
Yeah, we'll have to create something. I usually have something that talks about what we're showing, but I think it actually, a lot of the previous conversation, it needs to be much more official and much more explanatory about what is available and how it looks. In the past, it's been pretty technical, and we want to, take it up 2 or 3 notches from there.
Yeah, Ray, we will work with you on that one.
Okay,
We, meaning Randy, and right?
yeah,
Speaking.
okay,
Speak for yourself.
very good.
I have a quick question for Ray. On April 22nd, you're going to put up the antenna, or we will put up the antenna. What is the intent then? Are we going to have some kind of radio communication with something to demonstrate, or what's the goal there?
We'd have to talk to Jennifer. The goal is to show what our capacity is. I don't think the intent is to demonstrate anything per se, but when you roll it up, you turn on the radios, it's always good to have people talking and chattering and what have you. It's a good time for anybody to test their gear against our infrastructure. That's all good. So, but that it's just a show and tell is all it is, Jerry. my understanding.
I think it would be good if we had an opportunity for people who came by to see how it works, see how the GMRS channels work, see how the UHF and DHF channels work so that they can see it in action.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, we are, just a sidebar about the trailer. The equipment, part of it arrived this week. We're upgrading all the radios on the trailer since it was designed about 7 or 8 years ago to mimic all the WPV communication infrastructure. So not only the GMRS, but the digital, commercial band and other things. So it'll be, as well as the microwave, by the way. I'm going to put a microwave on it so we can aim it at the cross and actually connect everything up. So.
Awesome. Okay. Very good. So those of us who can on April the 8th,
Yeah, my house, 10 o'clock.
how to set up the trailer. So that'll be a fun day. Okay, we are on to item number 13.
I'm still up.
Good.
Well, we tried to have this subcommittee meeting, but it was the day the storms hit and the power went out, and we haven't been able to reassemble since then. Just to comment on that, I don't know, power at my house was out for 14 hours. My batteries lasted 13 hours and 50 minutes.
Whoa.
And then the generator kicked in. So it was an opportunity to really test all the backup power and communications at my place, which is sort of the hub for a lot of the PV stuff. So success there. Even though we didn't have the meeting, we proved it worked.
We will work to reschedule this meeting as soon as we can and hopefully have something to come back to the full committee next month.
That raises an interesting question. If we get the antenna, all that stuff up by the Cal Water, will we have backup power there?
Well, Cal Water, I'm not sure, you mean at the, for the AM radio? Yes, yes, it'll have a UPS and everything else in it, yes. They have a generator on site, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they've got a major generator on site. They can't, because of
For water.
pressure concerns, they can't lose power at that site. Okay, the Charter Revision Subcommittee, we did have a meeting of this committee. It was a really good meeting. And we have circulated a draft of the charter revision among the committee members. We'll probably have to have one more meeting to finalize that, and then we will come back, next month with a recommendation on changes to the charter for this committee. So I thought our first meeting was quite good, and we do have a revision in process. Okay, any questions or public comment on these two items since I skipped over public comment?
Yes, I have a comment. This is Christy. I just wanted to share with you, I visited a friend who has ALS on a oxygen. And how are we taking care of our residents? She was out of power for 3 days, and it was very hard on this family.
Mhm.
How are we taking care of residents in this situation that are on a breathing machine? Can you comment on that?
That is something that I know that sort of the neighborhood groups have tried to look into. I think Woodside Fire might address that a little bit when they speak later. The EPC in general has not taken up that challenge of trying to figure out how to help residents when the power goes out.
I understand that there's a way to connect with PG&E if you have those kinds of medical power needs, to be sure that there is something available, or at least help you figure out how to get something available. But I do think it's out of the scope of this committee to do sort of individual medical power supplementation in the event of emergency. So I think PG&E is really the answer. Maybe Woodside Fire has some other suggestions, but I'm not aware.
I'm wondering
it's-
if we can partner with Sequoia, because they must have a generator that would allow somebody to go sit in a, she had to go to her parents' house and sit, for warmth, and at least we had 14 hours, but they had 3 days. So that's just, how do we partner with people that do have?
Let me speak to what Sequoia has. We at Sequoia's have not, we have a generator, but it does not feed the individual apartments. So we as individuals with CPACs, myself included, have no power when the power goes out. We have to do it ourselves. We're trying to address that individually as to what kind of system would have enough power for how many days, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a complex issue, and the Sequoias does not provide that to individual apartments. Only if you're in the health center or assisted living, you have that benefit.
Thanks for that update.
I would add one other comment. The town does have a generator. So if somebody who had a medical device requiring power during a power outage, the question is, if they came to the town center, can they plug it in and wait it out? We don't have, I don't think, any guidance on anything like that.
Careful there. The CPAC is used at night while you're sleeping. You don't come to the town center and sleep in the parking lot and sorry.
No, but I'm talking if somebody really is requires an oxygen supplemental medical device. So I don't know.
Yeah, a BiPAP would be for a person with ALS. It's all day long.
Okay, that's something we can take a look at. Craig?
Just wanted to add that at the library, you can check out a battery pack and a solar panel that the sustainability committee. So it's meant to check it out, look at the capabilities, and then if it works for you, then the individual can buy it. So they've got a 1,000-watt battery plus I think it's 1,000 watts.
Okay. No other questions. We're going to move on. Oh,
Question.
one more.
Just
Randy.
real quick, I think this is something, this is an area where the comms subcommittee and updated website can help. I don't want to over commit us, but I think ultimately something that this committee can help do is provide information, and that's
Yep.
both to connect people who can be resources to people who need resources. And I think there's,
That's a good point.
so I think we can look at this as we proceed.
Move forward. Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, we now have Selena. Ray,
We
can you?
can't hear.
Ray left the scene.
Hang on, maybe that one's working.
This, oh, this one. Okay, here we go. And we're on. It's nice to see everybody face to face here. First of all, I just want to make some comments. I'm sitting there and it's hard for me not to say something every time, but the messaging aspect, right, is a constant challenge that we have addressed over the years. It comes constantly, right? And so it's that whole broken record, having to be a broken record. The schools are absolutely a great resource. I think here within the fire district, unfortunately, we don't have a local TV channel, a local radio station, right? So we don't have those normal outlets that are usually available for just our neighboring cities. So we have to be more adaptive. And so we usually push out information online on our forums, and we utilize our other groups, .io mail lists. And then we have to do it old school. We send mailers, which people, some people hate them, some people love them, some people just don't care either way. But I think what we just have to keep in mind is this is going to be an ongoing thing, and we're going to have to continue to do it. That's no one thing is going to work, and it's going to change. So sometimes posting on the forum is going to work really, really well. During COVID, it worked really, really well. But now that people are going back into the office or coming, everything's going back to normal now, people don't want to be on their sitting in front of their computer all the time. So yeah, we have to start thinking, okay, how are we going to adjust that messaging? So I'm really excited that the marketing committee is being put back together. I can't wait to work with you guys on that. For the vulnerable residents, San Mateo County has information on that. I'll reach out to our EMS coordinator to see as well. Jerry's right with the PSPSs. PG&E is supposed to provide resources for vulnerable residents. As well, I strongly encourage through our emergency preparedness programs that neighbors help neighbors, and that's why it is important that who your vulnerable residents are. Whether or not you can actually help them, it's if they may need help. During these past storms, I sent out messaging, or we sent out messaging just saying, check on your neighbors, make sure you have backup power, all of those things. So it's great to know that there are residents out there checking on their neighbors. It is worrisome that there may be high-risk residents that don't have the help they need, but let's make sure that we push forward and try to get them the resources they need. So I'll reach out to I'll talk to our people, our connection with San Mateo County Health. So aside from that, thank you for saying epic with the name change, right? I did send an official note out, but it hasn't been printed anywhere. It's mostly I posted on the forum. I gave it to the towns to post on their website, just saying, hey, this is what's happening, and don't forget about our programs. We did on the Ready side, we did just have a resident, Craig Dreeman, who did a presentation. He calls it Weeds to Wildflowers. And what it is it's encouraging residents who have grasslands or properties where there are grasslands to mow starting in March, once a month, mow your grasses down 8 to 12 inches. And what that'll do once a month up until May is it won't allow for those grasses to grow back, and it'll reduce the fuel load. So, usually we mow one time and then all that grass is there. We mow pretty close to, fire season. We want to wait as long as possible, but it creates such a huge amount of fuel load. So he has recommended, and the fire department has said, yeah, this is a great thing to mow, right? For the grasslands. He does have another side to it, which is more once it's been mowed and now you have nothing there, and you want like native plants to start coming back, you may need to fertilize and do soil testing to figure it out, to get that regrowth. We haven't endorsed that portion of it, but we'd strongly encourage the mowing. So what we're planning on doing is sending out a postcard with a QR code, basically just telling residents, hey, if you have some grasslands, check out this plan. And then we already have a web page built on our WPV Ready website. So we're working on that postcard now, which we'll push out through the fire district. On the CERT side, we have our CERT training coming up this month, our in-person skills day. It's 25th and 26th of March. If none of you have taken CERT, or if you need a refresher and you have taken it, please come to the skills day. And if not, go through the hybrid training. It's all online right now. And then come in for the skills day. Because what we have going on right after this is really encouraging. What we've been doing is the first of every month, we have CERT work days where we get a lot of our projects done. It also allows our residents, our CERTs, to come together and just network, talk to each other. And we're keeping them really engaged, which has been really awesome. But after this training with the CERTs, in April, we are going to be having a firefighter rehab training. So it's where CERTs assist at calls for the firefighters. When they are running a call, they got to come out and kind of refresh. We check their vitals under the supervision of somebody from the fire district. And this is a specialized training. So what we're doing is we're going to be offering the training, and then we're going to be working with the San Mateo County Fire Academy to actually work together to see how it works. And so those days will be in April as well. It's a great opportunity for our CERTs to do this. We've had the firefighter training before, or firefighter rehab training before, but that was pre-COVID, and we were never able to implement it. So we have all this equipment, but we can't use it. So if you're involved in CERT, or if you want to get re-engaged in CERT, I strongly encourage it because we're really starting to ramp up here on that. And our next workday for CERT will be this Saturday. So if you have time, you want to help, check out our trailer, come by. April training will be on April 1st. It's a Saturday. I know, right? It's really happening. We may be doing 2 sessions. They're 4-hour blocks, the in-classroom portion, and then we have to do a hands-on portion. And the hands-on portion will go on the days where the academy is doing what's called their fire control. They're going to be working with a burn prop, and that's on the 18th, 19th, and 20th of April. And we'll just have them, whoever's taking the class, sign up on the first day of the in-person training. Chief Ari DeLay, if you guys don't know about him, he lives in La Honda. He's a fire chief. He's involved in many things, but he's the one offering the training for us. I think that's all I have. Thanks. Oh, yeah.
Can you repeat the name of the mowing guy?
Craig Dreeman, Dreemann, I believe. Yeah, I have all his information. Yeah.
Very
I think that
interesting lecture.
I think that presentation was saved on YouTube, wasn't it?
Yeah, we recorded it. It was part of our regular committee meeting, and we put it on YouTube. So, and that's where we created the page on our WPV Ready site. So it breaks it down because it was kind of a little bit all over the place at times. So we wanted to make it really clear. So if you're couldn't take down notes fast enough, we already built the page around it, which we'll be pushing out. Any other questions? No? Okay. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you very much, Selena.
Good morning, everybody. I'll try and make it quick. I know we're pressed for time. I wanted to echo the thanks to Jerry on the Zone Haven identification project. The Woodside Portola Valley Fire Protection Foundation met on the 21st of February. And that was very enthusiastically received, to the point with our echo as well to do this district wide. So I don't know if you've copyrighted or patented anything, but I think there'll probably be more communications moving forward on, whatever help we
Happy to
need
help,
on
and I
getting.
think it should be
Exactly.
district wide.
So that was what we needed to kind of spear that project moving forward. So thank you very much on behalf of the district. Last meeting, we talked about promotions at our battalion chief level. We continued that at our captain level. So now we have a promotion at the captain level, Joe Porter, an interim captain, Brandon Lima. So the promotional process continues within the district. The station projects are still moving forward. The weather has obviously played an impact on that. Station 7 with the full rebuild is still slated to be completed around the end of September, with move-in the end of September, early October. Station 8 here in Portola Valley is a little bit after that still. So we're still looking at October into November for that. It seems like every meeting I'm coming to you with another event that we had in the district or in the county or in the state. Last meeting, we talked about the rains from New Year's Eve going into January, and lo and behold, 2 weeks ago, we have a wind event that we knew wind was happening, but not to the extent that occurred. The county was hit really hard with these wind events. The district was hit not as hard as some areas, i.e. Menlo Park, Redwood City, parts of the county that were without power for multiple days, which is very uncommon, especially in the low-lying areas. And then we have a snow event come up, which Mother Nature is obviously saying something to us. So let's all band together to respect whatever this intent is. And I think, we've been wildfire focused, and I continue to say this, that, we're being tested not just at wildfire, but we have, rains, wind, flood, snow, et cetera. I mean, that if the snow event affected the entire county operationally from the fire ambulance perspective. We were relocating four-wheel drive vehicles throughout the county to get to the higher areas that were affected by the snow. Ambulances were affected on getting to those higher areas. So everything tailors back to that communication, and, we continue to talk about that, and there should be never a point in time when we stop talking about it. We have to keep doing that, because where there's a plan A, there needs to be a plan B, plan C, plan D. And I think we're seeing that as far as, radio infrastructure, communications, AM radios. Now I'm hearing it more, widespread on how valuable AM radio is and how it doesn't need to go away. It needs to be, re-implemented, at a more widespread scale. So kudos to Ray as well on all of that, because we're, more on the forefront of that, on continuing that. Now I'm hearing it at all different levels. So I appreciate that from all of you. That's all I have right now. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I understand you had a meeting on Tuesday on the fire code. Could you just clarify, is this now all approved? That people don't really know where this stands?
No, the fire code wasn't presented. So there were two ordinances that
The
were
ordinance,
presented.
excuse me.
No, there were first readings of the ordinances. So that was presented. We had public comment from multiple entities. So either the public or larger organizations throughout the district. So they made their comments, or coming back for edits, and they'll be presented at future meetings for that. So there was nothing implemented at this point. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Snow is quite a challenge. Something different. Okay, now we're going to go on and let's see, I thought I saw Corey. Corey, if you're on, do you have any report from the town on any of the open items? She was here. Maybe Corey is checked off. Okay. We have no town report today. Subcommittee reports. We'll zip through these. Ray, anything on your report?
Ray's on the phone.
He's on the phone. Okay. Rob, you want to say anything?
We're still working with Woodside Fire. Marshall Hurd is leading it now, along with Selena. And I think that's going along well. The goal is to have that done before fire season.
Great. Vic, neighborhood outreach, anything new?
No, nothing new.
Okay.
I could just quickly comment? I am trying to organize my neighborhood, and Joyce and I have sent out multiple emails to about 30 people, and it's like it goes into the vapor sphere. Nobody responds. So I don't know that we have figured out the right communication message yet. It's disappointing when you're trying to do something like
Jerry,
that.
if I may comment, Dale, I will tell you that our success in Golden Hills with the 30 families there, I think reflected how important it is to find a single person or two people that are really willing to take the lead. And I'll be happy to talk to you about what we've learned from that, and also with the Westridge experience. But having somebody that really takes the lead and makes personal contact, and then invites the neighbors into their home, usually under the subterfuge of a social event, which people want to see your house or your furniture or your backyard, or food or whatever it may be, or even a summer barbecue, which we did and had 40 people show up to it. That personal contact really helps get it off the ground, but it is a frustrating effort. I can only tell you that resilience and persistence pays off, but I'd be happy to speak to you offline, Jerry.
Yeah, I do think it's one of the most important things that we should be trying to accomplish over the next 12 months is to get a larger number of neighborhoods organized.
Yeah.
So if that is the method, and we've just come up short in my neighborhood,
right?
But I know that many other neighborhoods have also come up short. So we just need to figure out a way to push this through the town council, through other communication methods, because we're not getting people's attention.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I
think
think.
Coming
No,
up.
but it's really true. You need one person in the neighborhood who will drive it and who will have those parties. All the paperwork, all the emails, if there isn't a person and building the personal connections, it's not going to work. It's absolutely true.
Yep. We're coming up on all these events, Vic. Time to get out there and spin everybody up. We need to try and get our neighborhood groups up and operational again.
Well, if anybody has any new ideas, I know we've gone to all the town events. I certainly had a response from several of the neighborhoods. We identified like 20 that I reached out to, and some expressed an interest. But Jerry, as you saw from your own experience, it's getting someone that takes ownership and it's willing to move forward. And these individuals that are willing to do that are far and few between until a fire occurs. And then you get a high level of interest for a while. And that's when you've got to try and build if you possibly can.
I'd really like to see the town council come out in strong support of this kind of effort, because people are, paying attention to what's going on in the council now, and it would be maybe another way to get some support.
Randy.
I'm glad you mentioned the social events. I was thinking as soon as I get up to speed, I would be happy to host one. And I think in conjunction with getting some more information available on the website where people can then go and follow up would be awesome. And if something like the town council even subsidizing just some token amount, $100
Sausages.
to just to people who would host it and just mention the EPC, emergency preparedness in Portola Valley in the website.
Now,
Some minimal requirement.
The EPC would be happy. We have a budget. We submit a budget every year, and about $3,000 of that budget generally is associated with outreach. So if we have neighborhood groups that would like to get a couple $100 to buy some food or sausages or something, I think this committee would be more than supportive to try and get some groups out there. Selena?
I just want to comment too that we do have the EPIC board, which is the nonprofit emergency preparedness program organization, which underneath that we have our WPV Ready program and our WPV CERT. So the Ready side is all that preparedness up into the point of a disaster. And we do have a budget, and we strongly encourage, neighborhoods having a party. This is how we like to label it, having a party and then sliding some preparedness in that, right? Right now, what's really been helping neighborhoods organize is Firewise. So we're getting people that want to become Firewise recognized. And then that's the way they're starting to build those connections with their neighbors. But know that there is money there. There is room for support, but it is boots to the ground, as Vicky Coe and Woodside would say.
I'd also mention that we have created in Portola Valley a handbook for each of the neighborhoods that express an interest. So we've got a very, I think, understandable, down-to-earth handbook on practical steps on how to do it. We've brought that to all our town events in recent past and been available to answer any questions. But it is, going back to the adage, you can bring the horses down to the water, but you can't make them drink unless they want to drink. And maybe there's some more creative ways to do it, but we're trying as best as we can. And I think Woodside also has a handbook on developing.
We have the Ready one, the Ready, the handbook in general, that the Ready program, which is both towns are in support, are on the board for the EPIC board, and all our unincorporated areas too. So that's why our nonprofit organization covers the entire fire district. And so I just want to make a note or point out to the marketing group that let's try very hard to make sure our messaging is the same with what Ready is pushing out. Ready has a website, wpv-ready.org, and it's got a lot of information on there. I can be linked to the town really easily, but let's make sure the messaging is exactly the same.
Thank you, Selena. Okay, on Lynn, do you have any quick comments? Nothing today? Okay. And Rob, anything on, nothing new on the ad hoc safety element committee? Okay, do we have any other public comments, questions? Anybody on the committee? Okay, with that, our next meeting is coming up on March 2nd.
No, better not be March the 2nd.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It better be an April date. Yeah.
Pick another month.
Pick another month. Okay. So what is the date? Anybody know that first Thursday?
April 6th, I think, is the first Thursday. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I think it is.
Well, it is April 6th. Okay, our next meeting is April 6th. I apologize. I did this and I did it wrong. Anybody not going to be able to make that meeting? As of now, we certainly have a quorum. Jerry?
The chance I will not be.
Okay. We'll give you excuse.
I'll be in the
Okay.
RV, so I don't know.
Okay. Very good. With that, things coming up, April the 8th, trailer training. So thank you all for your participation. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
We're done. I want to ask. Do you really think that aquatic cleaning is worth it?